Right, Mike Vaquera, thank you. Let me bring back in John Burns as we take a look at a picture of the entrance to the Manhattan Bridge, which is apparently being closed off by protesters. That's where police are right now. John, let's talk Cleveland for a second. So what are the next steps? What will a court-appointed monitor do?
A court-appointed monitor will obviously just make sure that everyone's held accountable, that the reform is moving forward and the proper procedures are in place that make sure that all these individuals in terms of the excessive force is no longer a problem in Cleveland. I think the steps are being taken and the steps are put in place to make sure this happens and it occurs in the way it needs to occur.
Albuquerque, Seattle, Detroit, other cities have had this happen to them. Major American cities. What does that indicate to you?
That indicates that there's a precedent here. So Attorney General Holder is very knowledgeable, and he's been very aggressive in making sure that there's no unjust treatment of Americans across the country. So you clearly have 4 cities that already have similar type consent decrees, and obviously change has been instituted. So I think it's a good thing that Cleveland has been willing to adopt some of these changes to ensure that there's no longer excessive force used in law enforcement.
What sort of damage has this done? I mean, has this done more damage to the relationship between the minority community and the police department in the last week, or is it just the same?
Oh, I definitely argue to the contrary. I think it's actually really made the relationship blossom somewhat, because now you're holding the police officers accountable. I think for the longest time, many minority communities felt like they were on their own. No one stood for them. And now you see the president speaking out, you see the attorney general speaking out, all in alignment and really making sure that procedures are in place that will prevent this conduct from moving forward.
And as we watch these protests tonight, how long can they be sustained?
You know, and that's my biggest concern. Obviously, at some point, this 24-hour news cycle will end. The protest will ultimately end. But I do think in terms of really action, I think we have remained unified as a country. It's been across racial lines. It's been across ethnic lines. It's been across political lines. And I think we have some really top-level advocates in terms of President Obama. He's spoken out against this, Attorney General Holder. So I think moving forward, we will have action, we will have reform, and I think the members of the ground, the American citizens on the ground, are really vocal or really proponents to ensure that this will continue to happen.
All right, John Burns, again, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
In South Carolina this week, a great